James Lynch here for BODOG. Happy to be joined by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, currently ranked number 11 in the division. We want to see what he's up to these days, when he's going to be back, how everything's going. Stephen, how you doing, man?
Doing good, brother. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Of course. Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to get an update. Obviously, we last saw you against Joaquin Buckley. We'll talk about that fight in a sec, but I want to start off on a positive note. How were the holidays? What'd you get up to?
It was awesome, dude. Well, Christmas was great. Spent it in New York City. Me and my honey spent it in New York City. It was freezing. It was like 11 degrees, but we had a great time. Spent the New Year's, at Upstate Karate, where we have our New Year's Eve sleepover.
That's right. Yeah, an annual thing for you guys. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. It was an all-nighter. I'm still recovering from that thing.
Yeah.
So it was fun, man. We had a great time. I stayed up all night. Didn't go to sleep the next day till around noon. I couldn't sleep, man. I couldn't go to sleep. So yeah, it was pretty fun, but it was rough on the back end.
Let's talk about you though, man, in terms of, your next fight, your health and all that. What's the latest with you? When are you looking to get back in there?
The plan is probably March,
okay,
or April is the plan. Don't know who yet. They haven't thrown anybody out there to me. I know a lot of people was like, for a second they were saying, because Joaquin Buckley beat Colby, they're like, how about you fight Colby? Or I think the number, what's his, I don't know his name. I think he's right behind me. He just beat Neil Magny.
Oh, Carlos Prats.
Yeah,
Prates.
Prates.
Yeah.
I heard, some people were saying, how about fighting him? But we don't know. We don't know. We'll see what the UFC throws at us, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, just kind of wait and see. And let's talk quickly about that fight with Buckley. It was competitive, and then I know at the end, obviously, he was able to get the better of you. But what did you take away the most from that performance? Because like I said, I thought the fight was looking good right up until the finish.
Yeah, man. I don't even remember, the knockout, obviously. I felt great all the way up until that point. Like, I felt fast. My takedown defense was working for me. I was getting back up to my feet. He was very strong. We knew that going in there. If he gets around you, he's going to be very difficult to defend against. But the things that we were working in the gym, we're working during the fight. So I was happy with that. It's just the fact that I go back and I watch myself whenever he throws that big left hand, and then he does that lunging right hand. I don't know why I reacted the way I reacted. Like, I don't remember why. I don't know if I was because I was thinking throwing a knee. So I brought my leg up maybe to throw it, but it was like a delay between the punches. He threw the left and whiffed the left. And so he stopped coming forward. So I don't know if I went to try to put my leg back down, but in the process, it turned my body to my left. And then he does that lunging right hand, which was explosive and quick. And I just didn't see it coming, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what predominantly ended the fight. But I was feeling good up until that point. Felt fast, felt strong. The things that we were working on in the gym were working. But dang it, just got caught. Crap.
Yeah, it happens. Well, it hasn't happened to you much in your career, right? If you look at it there, outside of, I think, Pettis and I guess Shavkat, they've been the only guys, I think, to actually finish you in a fight. So that says a lot about your career and not getting hit. That's actually something I know you pride yourself on, is that you haven't really taken a lot of damage in your career compared to other fighters that have been in the UFC as long as you have. So, it's going to happen if you fight long enough, right? You know what I mean? So
I know it, man. My dad tells me all the time. He's like, look, listen, Steven, about, how many people are on your highlight reels? I mean, you're bound to be on somebody's. And now I got 2 highlight reels with Anthony and Buckley. And Buckley's been on a tear, though. Like, I'm happy for the guy.
Yeah, he has. And I was going to ask you that too. What did you make of his performance over Colby, and were you expecting that going into the fight?
People really don't understand how good, and how strong Joaquin Buckley is. You saw it compared, with me, and then you really saw it with Colby Covington. Like, really, nobody really saw, Buckley, going the distance, because Colby Covington's notorious for having a gas tank, and the guy's relentless. But I mean, he wrecked him. He wrecked Colby Covington. Put him out, hit him. I think it was stoppage by cut, right? But Colby couldn't get the wrestling off. He's got great takedown defense, Joaquin Buckley does, and he's got hammers in his hands, man. You throw those hands, if he hits you with one of them, you're going out. So it's really cool to see this guy going from the 185 division and then doing really well in the 170 division,
Yeah.
and making it work. So the guy's progressing. He's getting better every day, and hopefully we'll see him fight again soon. I'm not really sure if he's got anything lined up yet, but
He's up there. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's kind of a carousel going on right now in your division in
yeah.
terms of, some of the fights being put together. And we'll talk about some of those in a sec. The other fight I wanted to ask you about, we had obviously Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry fight each other. What did you make of that fight? The odds told us a different story. The odds said that, Shavkat was going to dominate, but that's not really what happened. It was a very close fight.
No.
What did you make of, Shavkat's performance and Gary's as well?
Well, both of the guys looked really good. I was more impressed with Ian Garry than I was with Shavkat.
Mhm.
Ian Garry, almost finished him in the first round, taking his back, couldn't get the choke off, but there was a lot that was going his way. The striking was great too. I think just Shavkat pulled it off at the end. I don't know if I think Ian got a little fatigued. I think they were both fatigued. I think they were both a little tired in the fight. I would like to have seen that gone like 5 rounds.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, I believe it was 5 rounds.
Was it 5 rounds?
Yeah, it was 5 rounds. Yeah, no.
When I look back, I keep thinking it was like 3 rounds.
Yeah, no worries.
But Lord, both guys are at tip-top shape. It was 5 rounds. No one of those guys were fatigued. But I think just Shavkat ended up getting the takedown. There was some great scrambles there at the end as well, with both guys getting back up to their feet. They just couldn't hold each other down. But when there was a takedown, it was Shavkat taking him down, getting good position later on in the rounds. But man, Ian could have finished that in the first round if he'd have locked that choke in.
Yeah, it was a really competitive fight, and again, we'll kind of see what's next for both guys as the weight class is sort of kind of settling itself out. You talked about Colby Covington. Do you think now would be a good time for you two to fight? Just because if you look at who Colby's typically fought in the past, other than Buckley, it's mainly been veteran fighters, and you sort of fit that bill right now. Do you think that there's because I just I don't imagine Colby wants to fight someone else that's like an up and comer. I think you fit the bill a little bit more. Do you think now more than ever that fight makes sense for the two of you to fight?
I think so. There have been talks in the past about that happening, and it never turned to. I tried to get the fight a few times, and it just never worked. But yeah, man, we've both been in the game for a long time, and I think it would be the perfect moment for us to both go out there and just put it all out there.
Yeah.
I think it would be a fun fight for sure. And, I like to see what he comes up with whenever he talks trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny to kind of watch him pick people apart a little bit. Whoever he's fighting, he likes to talk trash. So we'll see.
I know we have a card this weekend, but I actually wanted to look ahead a little bit. We have that Israel Adesanya and Nassourdine Imavov fight taking place in Saudi. Adesanya obviously coming off the title loss to DDP in a fight, which I actually thought he looked very good. It just, DDP was able to get him to the ground and submit him. What do you make of that fight? Imavov obviously coming off the big one over Brendan Allen. He's on quite the roll right now at 85. How do you think that fight plays out with Izzy and Imavov in Saudi Arabia?
I think it's going to be a good fight. It being in Saudi Arabia kind of keeps me like, I wouldn't want to take a fight in Saudi Arabia, to be honest with you. Just the trip and everything, but he's willing to take it, to go out there and fight a guy who's a big favor there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Izzy's making some adjustments. You see him out there training with Robert Whitaker,
which was so cool. That fits the NMF bill for sure. That type of age.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I wish I was out there right now, being able to go out there and train with those guys at the same time.
Yeah.
But he's making some changes. He's willing to go out there on the limb and train with different guys, get different looks. And what better guy than, who held the middleweight division for a while was Robert Whitaker. He's got great takedown defense, that guy. And so they're doing something right. Robert Whitaker is a monster. He's been in the game for a long time, and he's still at the top. So that goes to show that they're doing something right over there. We're at his gym. Mm-hmm. So he's doing the right thing, going over there and training with Robert Whitaker. I'm leaning towards Izzy Adesanya. Mm-hmm. I think he's hungry. Yes, he had that last loss, but he's itching the bit to get back up to the top and get that title again. So I'm leaning towards Izzy on this one.
And then looking ahead even further than that, because a week after we have the middleweight title fight, the rematch, Dricus du Plessis, the middleweight champion, Sean Strickland. How do you see that one playing out? Because that first fight was very close. Some people even feeling like Strickland edged that one out in Toronto.
Yeah, man. At that point, it's a flip of a coin. They both look good that last fight. Yes, he ended up, beating Strickland, but it's like when you look at du Plessis, man, it's like, how is this guy pulling this off with some of the crazy shots that he does, the crazy, out of position strikes and combinations that he throws. He makes it work though. I guess that's just his style. It's almost like a drunken boxing style that this guy's got. But it's funny because later in the rounds when he looks so tired, for some reason, he looks so tired in the fact that his defense is crap, his strikes, it looks like a beginner, but he pulls it off, man. I don't know, man. I think Duplessis, just because he does have the wrestling. I think I saw Strickland the other day sparring with a black singlet on. It just makes me laugh to watch this guy's Instagram. Some of the stuff that he does in the training room. He's like wearing a wrestling singlet, just sparring.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Duplessis definitely has, I guess, more in the arsenal to win the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But Strickland, he's got good takedown defense as well. I love his striking. He's just got to watch out whenever he's, whenever he comes downhill, whenever he feels like his striking is working, he doesn't stop moving forward, which that can be dangerous for guys who got great counter striking and good wrestling, because he runs into takedowns. And he does that. You see that during the Izzy fight where his striking's working and he just constantly walks forward. Legs straight underneath him, not in a good stance, and it's easier for these guys to take him down. If he does that against Duplessis is going to take him down and dominate him there. But if he decides to, he needs to go out there, let his strikes work, but also work his in and out movement, or at least side to side movement, not just one direction, and that's forward.
Mm-hmm. Well said. So who are you leaning in that fight?
Oh, man. Oh, you're catching me, man. I want Strickland to win.
But do you think he wins? Do you think he wins?
I think he can. I think he can do it. I think he can make it happen.
Okay.
I mean, any one of those guys can make it happen, can win the fight. Just depends on who shows up.
Yeah.
But I think Strickland wants it. I think he wants it more.
Okay. One more I wanted to ask you about in the welterweight division. We got Leon Edwards. Looks like he's fighting Jack Della Maddalena. That's in London. Leon's first fight since losing the title. What do you make of that fight, and who do you see edging that one out?
Man, very good fight. Very good fight. Leon Edwards is coming off, his losses, and Duplessis, he's moving up. He's got that momentum of going up. Very similar fighters, I think. Duplessis in the boxing and Leon Edwards, he throws more kicks, but they like to stand there in front of each other and duke it out. They both got great wrestling as well. So very similar in the styles. I think Leon Edwards likes to put his hands and feet together a little better. And they both have gas tanks. I think Maddalena is the stronger of the two. I mean, he's just a very strong guy. Man, I think Maddalena, I think he gets it done.
Okay.
I think Maddalena gets it done. I think he's going to go in there. He's got great boxing. He makes people swing and miss. Even being in the pocket, he's got great head movement as well. If he gets your back up against the fence, it's going to be over. Like, he loves getting guys backed up to the fence because there's nowhere for them to go side to side, and he just cuts the cage off and just let his hands fly. The wrestling's there too. If Leon Edwards looks to try to wrestle, I think he can tire himself out, just like Gilbert Burns did. He ended up catching that knee and finishing him. Mm-hmm. So I think he fatigued himself trying to wrestle Maddalena, and Maddalena is a very strong guy. He's very good at his takedown defense, and he keeps the fight standing, he's done that his entire career. So he's very, very good at it. So I'm leaning towards Maddalena on that one.
You're talking about coming back in March or April. I know a lot of times when you have fights, you tend to get injuries. It just happens, right? Like most fighters do. How is the health right now in terms of going into your next fight? Was this more just because you got finished in your last fight, need some time off, or what sort of the strategy? Why does March or April, the spring, seem to make the most sense for you? I guess most stuff's booked up right now, right?
Yeah, a lot of things are booked up right now, but I've got a bursitis in my right elbow that's giving me problems. That's I gotta get that fixed. I've been talking with the UFC docs to trying to get the swelling to go down, and it's just really puffy. It looks like a witch elbow, dude. It's pretty bad.
I'll take your word for it.
Just trying to fix that, and it's hard because I got guys that have fights coming up, and I try to be there for them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I've been doing compression. I might have to go get some fluid drained out of it, but even when I'm on the sidelines, I'm still training, always doing something. And for some reason, I think I had injured my elbow during the last fight with Buckley when I was dropping the elbows on his head, on the side of his head.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think it must have irritated a tendon or something in there, but it's been bothering me ever since. And then I woke up one morning and that thing was fat. It was just huge, and that hasn't gone down yet. So I'm trying to get this looked at and get this fixed before I step back out there again.
Is your still sort of your mindset of your career as far as going forward? Like, is it still the same, or has that window, closed a little bit more because you're coming off a loss? Like, how do you sort of look at the rest of your career and this year in general in terms of how often you want to keep active and how much you want to fight?
Yeah, I want to be a little more active this year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The past few years, I've been only fighting once a year. So hopefully we'll try to get, 2 or 3 fights in this year if possible, if I come out there, no injuries or anything. And I mean, my last fight, that was the only injury I had was my right elbow being hurt. And then
Right.
later on, it started to get big. But yeah, man, mindset is still the same, brother. Mindset
Okay.
is still the same.
Figured as
Keep
much.
working
Yeah.
my way up and let's make it happen.
Looks like Belal and Shavkat are going to fight next for the title. Do you favor Belal there, or do you think Shavkat will be the one to dethrone him there? Because Shavkat's still undefeated, right?
Yes. I think if it is finished early, it's Shavkat. If it goes the distance, I think Belal has the advantage with his gas tank.
Okay.
If Shavkat can keep the fight standing and work his striking, I think Belal will try to look for the takedown. If he forces Belal to stay standing, he's going to try to continue to look for the takedown, which is going to leave up openings for Shavkat.
Okay.
So I'm leaning towards Shavkat during this fight, on this fight.
Okay. I know the plan is to always like end your career with the UFC, but would you ever do karate combat? It seems like something very appealing to a guy like yourself with your style.
Yeah, I feel like, MMA is pretty rough on the body, especially when it comes to the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. Like I feel like I could strike for days. So if the MMA doesn't pan out, then maybe I can strike, I think, for the rest of time, I feel like. So I think that could be a possibility later in the future if the UFC is no longer a thing in my life. But yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I get out there and I spar with the best of them, and I still have the advantage. Some days you go in there and you're the nail, some days you go in there and you're the hammer, but I feel like I can strike all for the rest of my life. So I think that could be a possibility for sure.
Stephen, thanks for doing this. Glad to hear
Anytime.
everything's great, and looking forward to you get back in there. If there's anyone you want to thank, and obviously your YouTube channel, anything else you got going on, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, man. Come follow me on Wonderboy on Instagram, Wonderboy MMA on Twitter and Facebook. And of course, check out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on YouTube. We got technique breakdowns, UFC breakdowns. It's going to be awesome. So check it out. And I want to thank you for having me on, brother. Thank you so much.